Respected and distinguished colleagues, I am Yahya Abdullahi representing Kebbi North. Mr. President, I rise to support this bill, but I also rise to adumbrate the points that have been raised by distinguished Senator Ahmed Lawan and distinguished Senator Adams Oshiomole. Mr. President, I spent the best part of my life as a teacher and researcher in the Institute of Agricultural Research, Ahmadu Bello University. And one of the greatest challenges that we have had since during the Shagari regime with the Operation Feed the Nation, which succeeded the Obasanjo's regime's agricultural policies at that time, was to try to make Nigeria self-sufficient in food. At that time, a lot of resources were spent in coming up with varieties of wheat and cassava and the propagation of these varieties to all parts of the country. In fact, it is true, just like the Deputy Senate President has said, cassava can grow anywhere in this country, but we have excellent cultivars of cassava that have high yields. In fact, Nigeria is the largest producer of cassava in the world. So the issue really is not about 20%. I know that in the Institute for Agricultural Research, in the Agricultural Research and License Services Institute of that university, so many studies were made on the suitability of several cassava varieties in mixture with maize for the baking and production of so many commodities. In fact, at a point, the Obasanjo administration at that time, before the Shagari regime, even made it mandatory for the brewing industry to reduce their content of barley in favor of maize and guinea corn. And to a certain extent, this particular line has succeeded. Wheat, on the other hand, like Senator Ahmed Lawan has said, can be grown in this country and Nigeria can be self-sufficient in wheat. What happened, like Mr. President, you have alluded to, was that we made a lot of campaigns to popularize farmers to grow wheat. Wheat seeds were distributed to so many farmers, but at the end of the day, after the farmers produce the wheat, the off-takers abandon them to their fate. So next time when they do it, farmers generally would do from wheat cultivation. So why this, Mr. President? What had happened was that there was a very strong, well-heeled lobby in the Nigerian flour producing industry. Now, unless I agree that we can go by the way of legislation, but also the issue is policy implementation discipline. That's what we lack. We lack policy implementation discipline, particularly in our agricultural sector. So unless this policy implementation discipline is sustained, even if we make the law, those very powerful lobbies are likely going to treat the law in the reverse. Just like you have said, Mr. President, we have encouraged farmers. I, in particular, we traveled to Lake Chad Research Institute, Gamburu in Gala, by road, over 1,000 kilometers from Zaria to that place, to encourage the wheat farmers to produce, even to produce the good variety that we give them for distribution. At the end of the day, everything will be fine, excellent, fine wheat fields in the Sokoto River Basin Development Authority area, which is now Kebbi, Sokoto, Zamfara, Yauri, right down to Kwara, in the Gamburu Ngala, in that is northeastern, around the Lake Chad shores. We have been producing a lot of wheat. And the cultivars are good. A lot of research went into producing those varieties of wheat that are tolerant to the climatical conditions of different sections and different sectors of Nigeria. But at the end of the day, because of the powerful lobby of the flour producing industry, we found ourselves where we are today. So the issue really is, I agree with that we have to do some legislation. But the most important thing in this area, Mr. President, is policy implementation discipline. And this is what is required in the agricultural sector. You cannot do extension work, breeding. These are very expensive research work, and you have good cultivars, and then at the end of the day, you distribute a lot of these things, and at the end of the day, the farmers who are supposed to realize value, who you have gone to great length to mobilize to produce these crops, find themselves at the back end of the market. So, Mr. President, as much as I support this particular bill, I think we as legislators and you as one of the most important policy makers, I think should encourage the Ministry of Agriculture and the President, draw the attention of the President, that in the area of agricultural production and agricultural utilization, so that we can reduce costs associated with imports of agricultural raw materials, we need policy discipline, and we need the President and the National Assembly to put their feet down to ensure that what we encourage and we spend national resources on are not thwarted by the power and persuasive capacity of the lobbies that are associated with importation of these products. I thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. So sometimes